DKU TV.
Welcome to the Tarantula Focus Feature Series. This is Dale Tonight, and we're taking a really good look at my Paraphysa Scrofa, the Chilean copper. This is Olympus, and as you can see, she's about to molt. I did not film the whole molting process this time. I was really busy, but I did happen to get just a couple of shots of her throughout her first two to 5 days after she molted. And you can see the molt up top. This tarantula is very beautiful. Paraphysa Scrofas are one of the most beautiful, underrated teas in the hobby. I mean, you don't see a lot of people with these in their collection, and I don't understand why, because they are very beautiful. I mean, this tarantula, at least my tarantula, this pea scrofa is extremely pink, and that contrasted with those dark legs was just insane. She is not sexed yet. I don't know if it's actually a male or female right now. I can never get a good look at her molts. They're always a little, I always catch them when they're about dried up, or I can't tell. So hopefully in the future I can get a good molt confirmation out of these guys. But as you can see here, this tarantula is very beautiful. She's one of my favorite tarantulas in my collection. She is a really extremely good eater. She has some really great attacks. I mean, look at that cape coming off the carapace onto the abdomen. And this tarantula, when it just molts, it's just absolutely beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful tarantulas in my collection. And I mean, that pink is really pink, and without the camera and real lighting, she is even pinker than that. Mirror patch is beautiful. She eats very well. She has a really good appetite. She can go on a fast here and there every once in a while, but most of the time she can eat. She's not a hider. She hangs out. She's very active. Hopefully it's a she. Man, she is beautiful. Definitely recommend this tarantula to anyone who likes paraphysas, and they're really easy to take care of, and nice little growth rate there. They're not too bad. Alright, Pegasus, the Thailand zebra, Haplopelma Albostriatum. I'm showing you a shot of her previously in her enclosure. She's in a different one now, and I'll show you that in a moment. But this is her previous enclosure, and I filmed this to show you because Nick Johns has been doing a lot of videos about his tarantulas doing excavations and burrowing, and this is what she did. She had two what I call volcanoes that she tunneled out. Underneath are elaborate tunnels. You can't see into them, but the webbing is up against the glass, so you can actually see into her. So I was able to see her all the time because she was down in these little web tunnels that she did all throughout, and I could look at her from underneath and on the sides. And she had two entrances on each side of the enclosure, and I just filled up the substrate with water and the moss up there, and she would come out at night and have a drink. I'm showing that cricket in there to show you that she wasn't taking it, and because that cricket was in there for about 2 days. But here she is now, taken out after she molted. This is around a week and a half after she molted, and she was due for a rehouse. I'm gonna put the link up so you could see me actually put her in the enclosure she was in previously. I'm putting her back in the same enclosure, but I do have a link to a video where you can see her when she first went into the enclosure I just showed you with that setup. The setup is much simpler this time. I just put substrate, built a little hill, and she's already digging in and made her tunnels in there. She actually, it took about 6 hours, and she had already dug out a tunnel and with webbing and everything, and she's already back to hunting, doing her thing. Within 48 hours, she was right back to what you just saw before. With fresh, after adding fresh substrate, she had already tunneled everything out and already made one volcano. I'm sure she'd probably do the same thing again. I'm gonna show you the process of how I did her enclosure this time. If you get one of these teas You have to add a lot of substrate, especially at her size. She's around 2.5 inches, maybe close to 3 inches, but I would say a good solid 2.5. And usually what I do is I just go ahead and do what I'm doing here. I just kind of fill out the side there, and you add you some water on that moss. They do come out. Haplopelmas, at least mine, does come out at night, and she drinks off the moss and off the wet substrate. You want to keep the humidity up for these guys. They love that humidity. But you also want to watch how much water you're pouring in there, because you can either A, drown the tarantula, or B, pour too much water in there. If your ventilation isn't right, it'll cause mold and mites. And you also don't want to overfeed these tarantulas if you're a beginner, because if they eat too much and leave them down in there, there's no way you can get those extra bits of crickets or worms out of there, and you'll be dealing with some serious mold issues that can kill your tarantula. So you definitely want to just give them just enough and don't overfeed them. Luckily, at least my Haplopelma is not very greedy, so one cricket every 2 weeks is more than enough for her. I give her literally 2 medium-sized crickets a month at around 2 inches, and she's perfectly fine. Abdomen doesn't go down. But the only thing that sucks about these tarantulas is when you put them in new substrate in a barrel, they haven't had time to really excavate completely so you can look in there at them. So for around 2 to 3 months, you will not see them at all until they've made their tunnels so elaborate that it actually moves up against the glass and the webbing is up against it. This is a small, actually it's a cricket keeper. It has a taller top, and they love to build up and go down. So, but the critter keepers have more of a flatter top. The cricket keepers actually have a taller top on the top, which gives them a little bit more room to build up, and she loves it in there. You just have to glue down the sides where the tubes from the crickets go in, but other than that, the ventilation is just perfect for them, and they have plenty of room to build up as high as they want, and you have plenty of room to soak the substrate on top and not have to worry about drowning your tarantula. You don't want to put too much substrate in there, because like I said, if anything was to happen, you need to get them out of there immediately. You don't want to be digging through 5-6 inches of substrate. You don't want to get too far down in there. So, I always recommend putting 3/4 in there. You want to pack it real good so they don't have cave-ins. Put you some moss in there. No need for any decoration. No need for anything but the moss for them to come up and drink on. And you'd be fine with these guys. So, if you're a beginner, I hope that helps you out a little bit. And as you can see, she's doing great. And like I said, she's already down in her substrate. And hopefully she'll be featured in the next feeding video. So, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching this one. Have a good one.